Hello and welcome to the Drummergy Podcast. I'm your host, Fred Rock Fisher, and today with me I have my good friend, Mr. Brandon Fields, all the way from Kentucky. Good morning, Brandon.
Good morning to you all. How y'all doing today?
We're doing great. We last week's episode got off to like a crazy, disastrous start with. It started with
the lights.
The producer wasn't happy with the lighting.
Oh, you were like in this big shadow.
Well, that's on purpose, right?
No.
Yes, and then we couldn't get the producer's microphone to work, and it was a rough start.
Yeah, it was.
Hey, well, it made me feel right at home, so I was ready to come on here.
It's just like doing a gig, right?
Yeah.
There's always some crazy thing happening. Well, we're gonna get into the career of Brandon Fields here in a moment, but I wanted everybody to, the goofy holiday thing. You're gonna like this. Today is Mickey Mouse's birthday.
Oh, wow.
No way.
It is. Mickey Mouse is 98 years old.
Oh man, we got 2 more years to his public domain, and we can cash in on that.
Yeah, Mickey Mouse first appeared in the animated short Steamboat Willie on November 18th of 1928.
Wow.
So that's
the year I graduated.
Yeah. It's also, hey, don't you have Mickey Mouse ears somewhere, Mary?
I don't know what happened to those because the kids got a hold of them. And they were from when I went to Disney World when I was like 5.
Wow.
I know that was in the 1900s.
Hey, I was born in the 1900s, so
okay, good.
I've got a little class to me.
I love it.
I do have a sweatshirt. I should go get it for you, and we can disturb the podcast.
No, let's not. It is also Apple Cider Day.
What?
It is.
Well, that's fitting because it's fall.
Right. And, we're heading, it's going to be just, we're going to blink our eyes. It'll be Christmas.
Hey, careful.
Don't even start.
I know. It's, what's your favorite holiday, Brandon? Do you have one?
Well, as a kid, it's always Christmas, but I kind of got, the short end of the stick because my birthday is December 10th. So,
wow.
My birthday was like right next to Christmas. So parents definitely dodged a bullet with, the finances having to, spread it out over a couple months.
Yeah.
As an adult now, probably Thanksgiving. I like to eat one, but it's kind of like Christmas without the commercialism. If you don't include Black Friday, and I consider myself very fortunate to still, be in touch with the family that I am. So, I don't take it lightly. So I'm very thankful when I can get together and spend at least one day with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah, I get the Christmas birthday thing. Mine's January 12th. So I'm right after.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, she has a birthday still.
That's all right. Me and you can trauma bond over our lack of gifts growing up.
Yeah, exactly. My favorite holiday is 4th of July. That's my favorite.
Man, you still have all your fingers?
I do.
Oh, yeah. He did.
All 11 of them.
He does have a fun story about all 11. Oh my God.
I forgot you guys are out there near that radiation in Nevada. So
That's right. Well, whenever I've done that, I hold up my fingers and then I put them down and then I say 11 and people are like, wait a second.
What?
How many was that I just saw? And today is National Entrepreneurs Day, which, Mr. Fields here and the producer and I, we're all entrepreneurs. We're all self-employed, independent contractors. We're out living our dreams.
Yeah.
And I think I want to live my financial dreams, but I'm living my dream.
Yeah.
Brandon, hey, Jim Ridenboss here. Good morning, Jim. Jim is an entrepreneur as well and a drummer.
Yes.
We want to get into the world of Brandon Fields, guitar player extraordinaire.
Yep.
And Brandon and I just barely actually met face to face like a week and a half ago.
We
awesome.
had more time on stage together that night than we did hanging.
I know, right? Yeah. Well, we're going to come back to that and how all of that happened. But, sometimes you just meet people and instantly you're like, oh, I've been friends with this guy for years. And Brandon was that for me. It was just so cool.
I definitely got the same vibe opening up the hotel room. It wasn't like there was a new person standing there. It was like, oh, hey, Fred's here. So.
Yeah, man, that was awesome. It was so cool. James Harrison is joining us. He says, greetings. James, I'm sure, just got home from going to PASIC, which is the
Steelers linebacker. That's amazing. No. I asked if that was the Steelers linebacker in here watching this. I was like, this is the best episode of my life.
So, Brandon, you're a guitar player. Do you play any other instruments?
Yeah, actually, first instrument I started on was piano when I was about 5 years old.
Okay.
Grandmother played piano in the church before I was born. Still had one at the house, and she was always messing around on it. Could sight read really well. Very talented on piano, and being a kid sparked my interest watching her do it all the time. So she started teaching me how to play a bunch of church hymns and stuff like Humpty Dumpty, all with like one finger. She would just pull out like the root note of the melody and like teach me that, and it was awesome. So started with piano about 5 and started guitar right around 7. Drums not much later. So yeah, I can pretty much I can get myself on stage one way or another.
I love that. I love that. Gary Tackett's here. What's up, Gary? I just played a show with Gary on Thursday doing the Eric Clapton tribute band thing. And that was a blast at the Sapphire Room.
Yeah.
So what drew you to the guitar? Because that seems to be like your main thing. Is that your main thing?
Yeah, absolutely. I sing with my band as well, my solo band, and some of the stuff in Minefield, but I'm always the guitarist first. So that's kind of why I like doing the G&R gig, because it's been a little different to where, I don't even have a microphone set up on my side of the stage. So I kind of have some free reign to just kind of play guitar. What drew me to guitar specifically, I can't really give a definitive answer now. Around that same time when I got into playing music, my first musical obsession was the Charlie Daniels band.
Oh wow!
He was playing fiddle and violin instead of guitar most of the time. He did play guitar, but I was listening to like Devil Went Down to Georgia, and that was dude. I was hooked on it. The jamming in the song, the lyrics. There's a great story, and I think that's one of the reasons still why I'm a sucker for a good story in a song. So Charlie Daniels had a lot to do with that. Would probably be my closest answer I could give you.
Well, for so many people, they'll cite Kiss as being the thing that got them going.
Yeah, I've got the Kiss connection, as much as anybody. But realistically, dude, I didn't get into Kiss until about 7th grade. Not that I didn't listen to them already. Stepdad had Destroyer on CD, so I had heard that one growing up, and I was familiar, but I didn't know like any of the deep cuts or anything like that, like all the killer 70s stuff. And I love the 80s and 90s too, don't get me wrong, but like unfortunately on the radio you really only hear I Was Made for Loving You in Detroit Rock City. That's as a casual 8 or 9 year old kid, those are really about the only ones I was familiar with. So it was about 7th grade when I finally got into Kiss. Angus was my first guy. Like Angus is there's your answer. Like I was already playing guitar, but dude, once I started watching AC/DC, man, it was game over. It was like, well, any likelihood of me being successful in any other facet is literally just been crushed by his duck walk across the stage.
Yeah. Mary was just talking about that last night. And
I was trying to imitate him and I couldn't do it.
It's hard, because Slash has like his own version of it, and I try to do it during the show, and it's like I'll go back and watch videos. I'm like, it looks like I'm riding a pogo stick or something.
Right?
It looks easier than it is.
Yeah.
It's impossible. I remember trying to do it as a kid, and it's like, and that's before your spirit's been crushed by anything, and you think you can do anything.
Right. Yeah.
I couldn't even do it then, so I don't think it's going to happen. But I've developed my own little halfway cheating version that I can do on stage with pretty tight up.
Sure. Yeah. Well, Mary tried to prance across the living room last night, and she's like, "Am I doing it?" I'm like,
"Nope,
no, it's not happening."
I'm too afraid to try it now. I don't have health insurance. Like, I can't afford that if I take one wrong fall.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man. Well, it's kind of cool to hear some other sources of inspiration for musicians, because it seems like most people I talk to will always say, Kiss Alive 2, just opening up that album.
It's I've heard it a billion times. It's one of two things. It's either they watch the Beatles on Ed Sullivan,
right,
or they saw Kiss like on the Midnight Special. Like, it's usually one of those two things.
Yeah. But Charlie Daniels and AC/DC, that's some new ones here. So that's awesome, man.
You hear my accent, brother. So Charlie Daniels shouldn't be that surprising.
Now, where in Kentucky are you, Brandon?
I'm about 15 minutes south of Lexington and Richmond. I lived in Richmond in Lexington, I should say, up until about 2 years ago. This amazing housing we have in America right now. It's a little cheaper to live outside the city nowadays.
Yeah.
True. All of that. So I think where you and I are sitting right now is a really great example of being involved with social media and making connections with people all over the world that you may have never ever crossed paths with. And I'm trying to remember, maybe you can help me. Like, how did you and I connect in the first place? Was it through Matt Starr, or I'm thinking like would be kind of a connection there?
That would be probably my best guess. I know we've been friends on Facebook for like several years now. I would imagine it was sometime during when the Minefield record was coming out, and it probably would have been through Matt Starr. Because I didn't even know Trey at that time. I've only known Trey for, about a year now. And then came to find out you guys knew each other as well afterwards. But yeah, I would guess it was probably Matt Starr that hooked us up originally.
Yeah. We had never met until we played a show together. But I just think that's a really cool example of staying in touch with people and going, hey, this guy's doing something really cool. I'm going to pay attention to that without any reason other than that.
Yeah. And it's funny that Matt Starr is the one who hooked us up, and you bring that up, that me and you, had like an online relationship before we ever met in person. And that's like, me and Matt Starr did that to the extreme. We recorded a whole record together, did interviews, and it was like 2 years before we even met in person.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, same with Todd Kerns. I didn't meet Todd Kerns in person until literally like a year to the month after the record came out, when we played at Creatures Fest.
Oh, wow. Well, let's talk about your album Minefield. And not everybody recognizes these names, but some do. And just walk us through like how that came together.
So for anybody that doesn't know, I have an original band called Minefield. Singer and bassist is Todd Kerns from Slash, featuring Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators. He's been in that band for 15 years now. He's actually been there before Miles, before they brought him in and turned it into the Conspirators. Oh, wow. On other guitar, we've got Jeremy Ashbrock from Gene Simmons' Ace Frehley band, plays with John Corabi as well. And on drums, we got Matt Starr from Mr. Big and the Ace Frehley band.
Right.
The big thing for me was like, Slash and Ace are my guys. Like, those are like my two guys on guitar. And when this band started, like, all three of those guys were active members in Slash and Ace Frehley's solo band. So it was like a big thing for me. It was like my band. I have the same band as Slash and Ace Frehley. That was, something I was pretty proud of at the time. I'm still proud of.
Yeah, man. Wrong,
but that was a big thing for me.
Well, how did you get in touch with those guys to put a record together?
So I've actually known Jeremy since I was about 13 years old.
Okay.
He was playing in a band called the Shazam, which is like a power pop Cheap Trick kind of band from Nashville. There's original. They're great. I definitely implore anybody to go check those records out. So they were playing in Oak Ridge, Tennessee in 2009, which is where I was living at the time, going to middle school. I'm pretty young. So
yeah.
Went and watched Jeremy's band with my buddy. And it was kind of a crazy instance how it happened. So we're 13 at the time, just two long-haired kids that look like they're up to no good. And we show up to the venue. It's this outdoor amphitheater. And we're like the first ones there, and the band's doing sound check. And me and my buddy go up to the front of the stage, and we're like eyeballing everything up there. And the singer, like, I see him like look over at us, and he walks up to Jeremy and he says something to the effect of like, "Hey, watch our gear while like we're off stage," or whatever, like basically pointing us out. And I don't know what happened with what that triggered in Jeremy, but the second that like his singer told him that, Jeremy walked right up to me and him, and he was like, "Hey, do you guys want to come on stage and play my guitars?" Had no reason to do that or inclination of knowing who we were or anybody. And we're just two kids at a rock show, and he just came up and, left a mark that I still think of to this day and try to repay, in any way I can, because that seriously changed the projection of my life. Like, just him, that nice gesture he did, look, 15 years later, we both played with Ace Frehley, obviously him in a way bigger capacity than me. But it's like, dude, if you could go back to that moment in 2009, because Jeremy hadn't got a huge break then. I mean, Shazam was great, but dude, it's not like playing an Ace's band. Like, if you could go back to that moment and tell that 13-year-old kid and Jeremy, when he was funny enough, like my age that I am now, we'd both end up playing with Ace Frehley. We'd have an original band together with one of the guys from Slash's band. Like, it's crazy how just small instances like that can affect you later in life. Like that changed everything for me.
100%. That's so cool. And that it's a reminder, I think, to all of us, like, our words and what we do matter. And
it's a small world. People remember how you treat them, for sure.
Yeah. And
Chip Znuff said the best. He said this entire business is predicated on, friendships and good relationships and, just having a good disposition with people, because, I say it all the time when I'm hiring people for Pretty Tied Up. It's like, dude, I'll take the guy that's 70% of the player, but a great hang, over the guy that, is the best ever, but I can't live with the other 23 hours of the day.
Right. Yeah. You gotta be able to just hang out and be cool to be with. And the producer's walking in. What's up? Oh,
are we in trouble?
Oh no, I don't know. Let's see here. I'm gonna try something here. Let's see what happens. Let's see if this works. Whoa, is it going to let me?
What are you doing?
Well, I'm trying to turn this microphone volume thing down.
Oh, okay.
This is we're doing it live. We're doing it live. It's not letting me, Mary.
All right.
It's not letting me.
Okay. Well, what?
Oh,
okay.
Here, now let's try this. Brandon, say something.
Hello.
Let's say something again.
Hello.
Something again.
How's that, Mary?
That's way better.
Oh, look, I figured out how to do something.
Oh.
All right, the producer's happy.
That's right. I just turned the volume of your audio down a little bit to match ours better.
So I should start talking louder, is what you're known.
No. Right. Well, we were just talking about being a good hang and being somebody cool to be around. And I mean, obviously having some talent is important to move forward, but that, talking about Jeremy making that gesture to you guys, like, hey, you want to check out my gear? Obviously, maybe he saw something in himself looking at you guys at that age.
That's exactly what I would guess with that, because, I mean, Jeremy got bit by the rock and roll bug real young as well. He's told the story on a ton of podcasts, excuse me, about how he went and got side 3 and 4 of Alive 2 when he was like 6 years old from a garage sale right across the road. He's like, I got it because Dad shouted out loud on it. So It's, small stuff when you're a kid definitely affects you later in life 100%.
Yeah. I'm still messing with this microphone.
Oh, I was like, why is he crackling now?
I don't know. It shouldn't have anything to do with. Now Anthony says his audio's all messed up, bro. I'm just gonna leave it where it was.
Oh no. Okay.
We have the audience helping us produce the show. Producer, what are you doing? I think we're good. We're gonna just keep moving forward here. So you record this Minefield record all remotely, is that correct?
Yeah, none of us were in the same room at all. Like I said, the record came out May of 21, and we didn't meet in person until May of 22. Obviously, I had met Jeremy before in person.
Right.
And I had actually, it's funny, I had met Matt Starr backstage at an Ace Frehley show in like 2018. It was the first time I had went once Jeremy had got the gig with him. And it's funny because I definitely laugh about this to Matt now, because I was just some kid backstage and he was standing there with one of the security guards like off to the side. And I walked up. It was like, hey, man, it's super nice to meet you. Awesome being here tonight. The security guard kind of shooed me away. I bring that up a lot now because it's hilarious. I'm like, hey, remember that time security guard basically kicked me out of backstage for saying hi to you?
Yeah. Dang it. Wow. Well, that's that. I mean, you got to have all those stories, right?
Yeah, it was great though. So yeah, it was all done remotely, and even that we put the music video out for Alone Together. It was all green screen. Like I recorded that on my iPhone in my bedroom.
Oh wow. Well, the video is really, really good. Hey, producer, can we get a link to Minefield's video? What was the name of the song again?
Alone Together.
Alone Together. Is that on YouTube? We can find that on YouTube, right?
Yeah, music video's on there. The whole record's up there. That's the only one with the music video, though.
There we go.
Yeah, let's find that, Mary, and put that in the comments, because that's a really cool song and it's a cool video.
I appreciate it, man. Jimmy
yeah.
Romero is who produced the video, and he did an amazing job. I had the idea of Saul being on a stage, but not actually, because it was COVID. But definitely needed somebody that was, good at what they did to put it together. And Jimmy definitely knocked that out of the park. Yeah,
that's great. Gary Tackett is asking, was Chris Radigan doing front of house for Ace back then?
When I first started coming around, Nightbob was still with Ace. Now, when I played with Ace was at, various KISS events. So Ace didn't necessarily have his whole crew for when he was getting up there. So he was traveling a little less. So unfortunately, I don't think I know who they're talking about.
Okay.
At least I didn't meet them whenever I was around. And like I said, I wasn't actually in Ace's band. I've just got to back him up at several different events. So
yeah.
I haven't met quite as much as the crew as everyone else. Now going to the shows since I've played with Ace and everybody, I've become a little more, I've met more people, but mostly the crew was really just his tour manager and maybe one or two other people at the events I was doing.
Gotcha. So doing the Minefield record with Jeremy and Matt, did that lead to playing with those shows with Ace?
Yeah, absolutely. If it wasn't for that Minefield record, that definitely would have never happened. So the way it even happened that I got involved with those KISS events was in 2020 was going down in December to Kissmas Masquerade, which is put on by my buddy Neil Davis, who does all the Kiss Cancers Goodbye Creatures Fest, that I've been playing at. And originally I was just going down, as just an attendee to watch the show. And I had just started my podcast, and literally my very first interview I had done like 2 or 3 episodes where we were talking about records. But then I finally did an interview episode, and I had on Kurt Froelich, who sang in Steve Riley's LA Guns. We were label mates at the time. And I didn't know Kurt until I brought him on the show. And he just happened to mention on the show that he lives in Orlando. excuse me. And then I get a text from Neil Davis after the show ended, and he was like, "Hey, would you and Kurt be possibly interested in playing an acoustic set together at Christmas?" And I was like, "Well, that sounds amazing, but I just met this guy like half an hour ago." And I was like, "I'm nobody. Like, I don't know if this guy would even want to play with me, you know?" And I reached out to Kurt and I was like, "Hey man, I know this is crazy because we just met like an hour ago, but just got this offer. Would you be interested?" And he was all for it. They wanted us to do a set of Kiss songs. And Kurt had actually played Ace and Black Diamond, a really big Canadian Kiss tribute forever. So he was familiar with the songs. And it just kind of snowballed from there to where we got asked to do the acoustic set. We were like, well, we should just bring in a drummer for this. And it's like, well, we got a drummer. Let's just use electrics. And it turned into just like a 10-song set of just really great, like, you know, not your standard Kiss songs that you would hear if, you know, if you went and saw them live. Yeah. And it was actually, funny enough, Ryan Spencer Cook, Ace's bassist, who originally started on guitar with Ace and Gene. His very first time ever, he said, playing bass live on stage was with us at Christmas. We did What's on Your Mind and Talk to Me. And then, you know, it's funny, 2.5 years later, he ends up making the switch to bass in Ace's band.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That's cool. That's cool. My Kiss connection is I worked with a band who worked with Bill Aucoin.
Oh, nice.
As the manager. And then I have this long twisted story about being in Midline, but we worked with Bill for a couple of years in Midline before he passed away. And man, we got to experience a lot of cool stuff and some stuff not so cool.
Yeah.
But we did some shows with Motley Crue, and Bill was with us for that. And
wow.
That was pretty awesome too.
What year was that? Would that have been with Karabi or with Vince?
It was on their Greatest Hits tour.
Oh,
so this would be
like
1999?
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
98 or 99.
It's been a while now, but
so that would have been like right when Vince came back to the band then.
Oh yeah.
Pretty much.
It was tense backstage. It was you could
sure
everybody was on edge, man. It was the two really cool people in that whole thing from Motley was Tommy Lee's drum tech Viggy, who I ran across multiple times over the years, and then their head of security was really cool. Everybody else was
yeah. I don't really know anybody from that camp other than Karabi, because I've got to play with him a few times, and he's awesome, you know. Now, Mick Mars' son does live here in Louisville, and I got to meet him at a show a few years ago. I was teching for a band, and he came out and got to hang out backstage. And he actually has his own guitar company, and he brought like 2 of these guitars with him. He had made one of the Eddie Van Halen. I don't know the exact model, but it's got like these. It's like white dots on it, and then like blue stripes. It's not one of the like Frankenstrats, but I guess it is, but not the color scheme you're familiar with. But he had put like a leather top on it. Like the top of this guitar was leather. I was like, I would scratch that off, you know, to bits playing. But he had some very cool looking guitars, and it was awesome getting to hang out backstage with him.
Speaking of guitars, I know when we played that show, that guitar had been, you were playing a guitar you guys had autographed that was going to go to somebody, right?
Yeah, so it had only one autograph on it at the Salt Lake gig, because I hadn't even considered that we still had one gig to play when I had Coogan autograph it. Because I had to have Coogan autograph it because, you know, he wasn't coming with us to Salt Lake. So I was like, hey, I got to get you to sign this now. Yeah. Because somebody had bought the Les Paul from me that I was going to be playing at the Whiskey and asked for the whole band to sign it. And funny enough, whenever we got done with the Salt Lake gig and went to the airport, man, I was so tired that I forgot to have the other guys sign it. So I actually have to take it with me to the gig this weekend in St. Louis and Chicago, and get Chip and Alex and Ollie to put their ink on it as well. But a good friend of mine bought it, so it's not like somebody's like very impatiently waiting. I could have handled it a little better, don't get me wrong, but it's still a buddy of mine that bought the guitar from me.
So did Scott Coogan's autograph survive that show?
It did. I put it in a spot that honestly I didn't think it would after I started thinking about it, because it's right below my pickups. So all the sweat coming off my hand, that's going right there. But it's funny because Scott starts his signature with almost the same S as Slash. So I just told Chip, I was like, if you point this out, I was like, just say Slash signed this the other day in LA.
That's hilarious. I'm kind of reading my notes here a little bit. How did Minefield go from this original project, and then you put together a Guns N' Roses tribute band? Or were those two separate things, or like running in parallel, or like how did that develop?
Definitely two separate things. So I started pretty tied up in 2019. We played our first show in September of that year, and then did a few more in October and December, and then of course COVID happened. We had got a few in at the beginning of the year in 2021, and things were actually looking really good for us. And like most people, everybody had to put it on hold. Because when your job is putting as many people into a small place as possible, that wasn't really the time to be doing that.
Yeah.
So the Guns tribute had started in 2019, almost a year before I attempted to put Minefield together. And Minefield, realistically, when it started, wasn't a band. Like, it was just under my name, and I had reached out to Jeremy about playing a guitar solo on a solo record, and he agreed to do it. And like the next day I was sitting at the house and was like, I texted Jeremy, and I was like, hey man, do you think Matt Starr would play drums on this? And I wasn't friends with Matt on Facebook or anything, so I didn't see him always posting like, hey, I'll play on your record. I didn't know that was something that he offered. And Jeremy texted me back, and he was like, hit him up, dude. He's like, we're all sitting at home right now doing nothing. So I've reached out to Matt, and he was very responsive about it. And then the funny thing is, I had just randomly texted Todd Kerns on my own about playing on a different song, and without connecting the dots in my head that all these guys were friends from the Kiss cruise, I texted Jeremy and Matt one day, and I was like, hey guys, I was like, just so you know, I reached out to Todd Kerns about playing on a track. And they were like, oh, we love Todd. We're going to text him right now and tell him to do it. So
cool.
They texted Todd, and, originally all these guys were supposed to just do one song, and Todd was going to be on a different song. And then we all just got into like a group text together, and it was like, we all got along really well. We worked on one song together. And that turned into 2 songs, and then that turned into 3 songs. And then once we got the 3rd song done, it was kind of just like an elephant in the room. It's like, well, why would we do this record with anybody but the 4 of us? Not to say that there wasn't other people that ended up playing on the record. But, the meat and the potatoes of the band was the 4 of us. And it just came, just from us having, a good time hanging out with each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Hanging out separately though, right?
Oh yeah. We were alone together.
Yeah.
Everybody's hanging out online, right?
Yeah. I think that was part of Todd's inspiration for that title for that track, because I think he definitely made that same joke in a few interviews.
Yeah. Well, that I mean, people could do so many amazing things just remotely and have these friendships, and I think it's just I like social media and all of that stuff, and seeing what other people are doing, cool stuff. I just don't. I stay out of the politics realm. Everybody else who wants to squawk and debate or what,
I'm the same way.
Just do that over there. But I tend to not pay any attention to that. I
think it's exhausting to live your life like that.
Yeah, exactly. That's well put.
I have enough problems as it is. I don't need stuff that I've still got to wake up and put my Slash hat on. So
yeah. So you started pretty tied up in 2019, and then when did it start actually getting legs under it?
And so crazy enough, we were doing out at like, touring dates, not like going on like these long tours we do now, but like outside or regional. I mean, me and Dustin were from here in Kentucky, and then the other three guys were from Detroit, Michigan. So we were doing dates everywhere in between here in Kentucky. I remember the first one was in Lexington in September. We did Toledo, Ohio in October, and Bay City, Michigan. And then I believe a few more in December, and then did a few dates the first of the year, and then had to shut everything down to COVID. So, uh, I pride myself on being pretty good at being able to book my band, because I still to this day handle the majority of the booking, and I was pretty good at it already when I started pretty tied up, because I had been doing the cover band thing for a few years already, booking myself. So I'd kind of figured out how to, convince people to give you some money, more or less to say, and kind of just use that to my advantage when pretty tied up started, and it's just gotten better since then.
Right. Well, how does one end up getting Alex Kane and Chip Znuff in their band?
Well, Alex actually was part of the Minefield record. I had reached out to him about playing a solo on something, and then he played the solo, and then actually helped Jeremy write his lyrics and melody for the track that Jeremy sang on the record. And pretty tied up, started getting some more dates, and we actually had a tour I booked in 2021, and I had reached out to Jeremy and Philip Schaus from Ace's band, who had filled in for a few dates during COVID that we had sparingly, and asked if they were interested, and Ace was about to go on tour with Alice Cooper, and so they weren't available, and I started thinking about other people I could get, and I'd been talking to Alex, and hit him up and was like, hey, I don't know if playing in a tribute band would be something that would interest you. And I was like, we got some really good dates, and it's a lot of fun, and he was all for it. And this was 2021, and he's still here, 4 years later playing with us. Chip, just kind of saw from the outside what was going on. He's buds with all of us, and I got a call last year when we were doing the winter tour. Chip called me one night. We were in Philadelphia, and it was at like 3 a.m. I get a call from Chip, and we're buds, but like we're not like we are now, obviously.
Sure. Yeah.
And get a call from him at like 3 a.m, and he was like, brother, why am I not out on the road with you? He's like, I know all of these songs. And I was like, are you serious? You want to do this? Not knocking my own band, but it's just like, guys like that. It's not as usual to see them doing stuff like this. And that doesn't take anything away from it. It's just, it's a new day and age when guys from legacy acts are, coming out and playing other band stuff like this.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's, again, your relationship building has been
That's
awesome.
what it's all about.
Yeah. And so so Alex has been with you since 21, and when did Chip come along?
Chip's first show was in July, and he's done every one of them except for 2 in October, because Enough's Enough was on tour. So Chip's probably done 35 shows with us now, and he's here for the long haul. Literally as long as Enough's not on tour, Chip will be with us.
Oh, cool. Well, and Chip used to play in Steven Adler's Appetite, right?
Yeah, he lived with Steven for like 6 or 7 years. There's a couple awesome episodes of the two of them going on the Howard Stern show around 2010. They went on like twice in a couple month period, and I love those episodes, because I'm sure you could tell from being around Chip, he loves some promiscuity and the ladies. So when he gets around somebody like Howard, like dude, Howard like one-upped him, and it was crazy seeing like Chip get like, I don't know the correct word, but like seeing somebody try to like out trim him, as he likes to say.
Well, now I got to go watch those episodes.
They're great. Yeah, I love them.
Yeah. Well, he was great to meet and great to play with, and so it's funny when maybe I should come back to that story. So let's talk about Trey, our buddy Trey Bledsoe. How did you end up getting Trey in the band? Like, he's been playing with you over the last year, hasn't he?
Yeah, Trey's actually coming out and doing the 2 shows this weekend with us. It's going to be his first gigs in September. Because man, when Trey came out for that tour last year, when Ari came in from Adler's band was singing for us, the end of the tour, Ari like stopped me in the hotel room for like the last day, and he was like, "Hey man, can we talk for a second?" You know, I've got crippling anxiety, so I'm like already like my mind's racing through a million things I could have done wrong.
Yeah.
And he was just like, "Hey man," because Ari has his own Guns tribute called Son of a Gun. And he was like, "I've got some dates coming up on the East Coast." He was like, "Do you care if I ask Trey if he wants to play drums for me?" And I was like, "No, I don't care." I was like, "One, that's amazing that you would ask, but two, don't ever feel like you should." But there are people that would have been bothered by that. I'm not one of those people. I'm all for all of us moving onward and upward and getting as many good things that can happen to us as possible. So I was all for it. So literally since our tour started in June, up until like 2 weeks ago, Trey had been out every single weekend with either me or Ari. And, you know, our tour, when it started at the beginning of July 10th in Philadelphia, we were out for 6 weeks, like 6 weeks without going home. You know, everybody's got stuff at home they got to deal with as well. So this will be Trey's first gigs back since September. We're stoked to have him back, though.
Yeah.
But to answer your question,
meet him?
Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
You know, kind of the same thing on social media. It was like a little over a year ago. I got a message from Trey on Instagram, and it was a drum cover of Life, Sex, and Death song. And he was like, "Hey, man, I got to send you this video because you're the only other person I know in Kentucky that flies the LSD flag." And for anybody who doesn't know, LSD was Alex Kane's band back in the 90s. Pretty popular. They had a couple videos on Beavis and Butthead, which is one of the best honors ever.
Oh, yeah.
And I responded to it and I was like, "Hey man, you know, I tour with Alex Kane from LSD, right?" And he was like, "Yeah, that's why I sent it to you. I wasn't thinking."
Yeah.
And, you know, I just started watching his videos, and the guy's a crazy good drummer, man. And he's in the greatest shape of anyone I've ever met. Like
his stomach looks like this wall.
Dude, he works out 24/7 when we're at the hotel. That's all he's doing. Like,
yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm trying to like struggle to not look directly at the light bulb. Like he's out there, you know, kicking ass at 7 a.m.
Right. Yeah. Totally.
But he was, you know, he sent me that video and I started watching a lot of his drum covers because he's got an amazing YouTube channel. For anybody that doesn't know, definitely would go check those videos out. And started putting the tour together and needed a drummer and just started bugging Trey. And, you know, Trey hadn't been out like doing dates like that in a really long time, especially not a 6-week tour. I mean, that's big for anybody. And, you know, just kept bugging him. And originally, you know, he definitely expressed interest in playing together, but it's committing to the time, you know, being away from home that much, being that far away from home, in addition to how long you're gone. You know, it was a lot, and it took a little bit, you know, going back and forth. But, you know, the more he saw, the more legit, you know, everything was. And, you know, me posting about the tour, I guess he got excited for it. And we've had him on board since November of last year. And we've done other gigs together. My 3-piece opened up for Jackal a second time here in Lexington, and Trey did drums for that.
Yeah. I've never met Trey in person, and I don't think it was because of Trey that I played this show with you, was it?
No, I mean, I definitely reached out to you on my own accord. Now to say that, like, you know, having a familiarity with somebody, just, you know, whether it be just mutual friends online, that definitely affects stuff, you know. I mean, 100%. Like at the end of the day, the reason that you got reached out to is because I decided to do it. Nobody had recommended you, but I'd seen that, you know, we had the same friends and everything like that. And
sure, yeah.
So I figured it'd be a good fit. And you, the same thing. I'd watch videos of you playing. I knew you could handle the material. It just goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Can you hang out with the guy? You know, I could watch their videos, and you can. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to have a face-to-face interaction, especially if somebody's doing a podcast, to kind of understand how they operate. And I figured you'd be perfect for it, man.
Oh man, thanks. I have a connection with Trey. I toured with a cover band from Michigan. Was that in 97, Mary?
Yeah.
In 97. Mary and I were we married a year or 2 years? Before, I think we were.
Okay, Fred, we got married in 96.
Yes. And then
we were barely married. We were married just over a year when you left.
That's right. We've been married just over a year, and I said, "See, I'm going on tour."
Yeah.
I was gone for about 3 months, but I was playing in a band called Pull, which Trey had been the drummer for that band before me.
Okay.
So,
it's
but I did.
A small world, man.
I know. I'd only heard great stuff about Trey, but I think, and even before that, the other guys in the band were in a Aussie tribute band, Mr. Crawley, with Trey. Prior to that. And I think Trey was just done with being on the road for a while. So that's why I got called up to do that. And then it wasn't until a few years, maybe 5 years ago, 5, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I started my own YouTube channel and doing covers. And you kind of search out everybody else that's doing cool stuff. And Trey was one of those. So I subscribed to his channel, and I didn't connect that was the same Trey until he did an interview with somebody, and I'm watching. He's like, "Yeah, I played in this band called Mr. Crawley, and then I did this other band," and I'm like, "That's the same guy." So that's how I reached out to him and connected.
That's awesome, man. It's a very small world. You don't realize that until you get out, and you're like, "Oh, everybody knows every single person that I know."
Right. So it was. Now we got a friend here. What's our friend's name?
This is Toodles.
Toodles.
From Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. So it's today's Mickey Mouse's birthday. This is Toodles, named from Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. He's the good one.
Boom,
but
just
the cats don't like me doing interviews. The other one, Duke, that you met earlier, is literally just walking around the living room right now meowing because they're not getting attention and I'm talking to someone. It's insane, honestly.
You just have this cat in your arms that you're petting.
I'm sure Duke will pop up here in like 2 seconds if he sees me pet the other cat. He's right here. So
then he's jealous, right?
It's the worst.
I teach drum lessons for a living. That's my main income, and I have students ask me questions all the time because I play a lot of shows and with different people. And so when you reached out and asked if I could do this, if I was available and willing, all of a sudden I've got 15 or so songs to learn and play in just, it was like 8 days or something. And my students were like, "Well, how does that all work from like every angle?" They were like, "How do I digest that much music that quickly? And am I nervous or scared to go play music with people I've never met? And how do I prepare for," which last week's show was supposed to be centered around that, but it got off to such a rocky start.
Why? What happened? No.
Microphones and lighting. The typical show stuff is going wrong. But I would like to know kind of like what your thought process, not with me directly, but like when you need a musician and you're searching for somebody to fill that role, like what's your process on that side of the fence?
I kind of look at it at both sides because I've been on both sides of that, getting last minute songs I have to learn. So I try to keep my expectations fair to both people. On one hand, it's like, hey, you did just dump, 2 albums on this guy, a week before a gig. Not you specifically, because I've done this to more people than just you, but just on that, it's like I did just dump 2 albums on him. So let's, not, kill him over it. But at the same time, it's like, you accepted this gig. You should be confident in your abilities to get your job done. And especially with a band like Pretty Tied Up, who like, dude, this band has never rehearsed. We rehearsed in like 2019 with the original lineup, but dude, I'm the only one left from that. So it's like, this band doesn't rehearse. You have to know your stuff when you show up. I try to be confident, pick guys that, are out there doing the thing that I can see and prove that they're reliable and consistent. But at the same time, like I said, I do have a brand and a band to protect, and I have to, kind of look at it unbiasedly and unobjectively, like at the end of the gig, where it's like, regardless of what I think about that guy as a person, is he going to be beneficial having in the band for the product? Because at the end of the day, that's what matters.
Yeah. Well, I love that you said you had a brand and a product to protect. Like you set a bar, right? And I think when you do a tribute band, that just opens the door up for scrutiny from the audience. Like
every time, and I mean, it's you'll have that no matter what you're doing. If it's tribute, original, or if you're working at Goodwill, like there's going to be somebody who always has something to say.
Yeah.
But you can't let it bother you. I enjoy what I do. I know there's always going to be people that have something negative to say. But at the end of the day, I get paid to play guitar.
Yeah, exactly. Well, for me, like when I was telling friends and my students, especially because they're seeing all of this play out, I don't like being told no, and I don't like telling other people no. I always want to be like, there's a solution in here. Let's find it. Let's make this happen. And for me, it was really cool to get that message, and that I was available and agreed to what you were offering me. And my whole thing at minimum was that you guys felt comfortable on stage. Like you weren't like overcome with worry. Okay, what's going to happen in this song? What's going to happen?
Yeah.
Like, and although there were a couple of moments I was stuck.
Hey, we recovered very well on the like two things I can think of through the gig, and it wasn't just on you. It's like we all could have communicated a little better beforehand, and also we had just met, so
right. Yeah.
It happens.
And I was reflecting on so much stuff. Like when we were in the hotel room, we talked about Matt Starr, we talked about Matt Muckle, we talked about Matt Sorum. And so I think Chip had Matt on the brain. And
when he went
to introduce the band and you came running up to me, you're like, he's not going to remember your name. And he's like, we met this guy 3 hours ago on the corner, and give it up for Matt.
Chip on the mic. You never know what's about to happen. I did know he was going to mess your name up, though.
That's so funny,
dude. I mean, he still says Ollie's name wrong. So,
well, that's the other thing is I didn't meet Ollie until after the show.
Yeah,
because he wasn't there for sound check. You sang Mr. Brownstone, and
I'll sound check for him. Pretty frequently, especially when we're out on the road and it's the fifth show of the week, like fifth night in a row. It's like, dude, he doesn't need to get up there and blow his voice out early in the day when he's only got so much left in the tank. And I'm not saying he only has so much left in the tank, but that's just science by nature. I mean, if you're singing 5 days a week, that's now 10 times if you include sound checks. So we want the show to be as good as possible. And like I said, I don't even have a microphone on my side of the stage, so I can get up there and scream for 15, 20 minutes. And I sing in my other band, so that's honestly that night's why we did Brownstone, because that's one of the easier ones for me to sing. I can sing a lot of the gun stuff, not all of it, obviously, because it's some of the toughest stuff there is to sing. But I can definitely get us through a sound check.
No, you did great. And like the level of that microphone was perfect when Ollie started singing it. And I just know it was just moments before we were starting, and I saw him side stage at the bottom of the stairs looking up, and I can't imagine what he was thinking. Like, who's that? Who's this guy? Who's this guy?
Though, I mean, like, Ari, whenever I brought him in last year, I didn't meet him until I picked him up at the airport for the first gig. Trey, I didn't meet I literally didn't meet Trey until I pulled the van with the trailer into a parking lot to pick him up for the tour.
Yeah. Well, that's a great testament to people's abilities and personalities to be able to do that. It's so cool.
Yeah, and it's those filling gigs, like you said, it can be a little nerve-wracking getting that much material dumped on you all at once. But at the same time, it's like, dude, you don't get a 6-month notice for a filling gig. So if you want to be able to take those gigs, you better be good at learning songs quickly. Because, dude, I'm not going to throw any names out there, but there's been some guys I've talked to, like, in the last year or two about, filling in for Pretty Tied Up that, definitely from bands people would know. And they needed more time with material and stuff like that. And I'm not knocking their playing or anything like that, because there's a reason I reached out to them. But more than once, people have been like, this is a lot of material. And I'm just like, well, that's how you get filling gigs. You don't get a 6-month notice that some guy broke his leg or
right. Yeah.
There's a reason that it's an emergency fill-in. So that's something I take pride in on myself with my playing, is that, I mean, I can learn stuff super quick, and it's because I want to be able to take those gigs. So, there's a way to get it into your brain quickly, but I wouldn't be afraid of having to do it myself, as I have done it. But like I said, I still try to keep my expectations pretty fair for both sides.
Yeah. I'm always looking for opportunities, and I know a handful of people that are, in those circles. And when I heard that Shannon Larkin had left Godsmack, I immediately reached out to their management and, just put my name in the hat. Like, if that was to, they had Will Hunt filling in, but I don't know how long-term that's going to be. And then same with Breaking Benjamin, just knowing that, highly unlikely they're going to call me, but there's still always that fraction of a chance.
You never know. You never know.
And just to be able to okay, we're going. We got to go. And then I got to learn all of those songs.
Dude, if you never put yourself out there, it'll never happen.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, literally the way I got on the third night I did with Ace, I wasn't supposed to play with him until a week before. And I was playing with him the night before. And then the next night, at the end of the night, I was playing the last 8 songs of the night at this event. And then Ace was coming out for Rocket Ride and Shock Me. And I was the only one who pretty much wasn't on that list for that. And so I was just like, hey, why don't I just stay out for Rocket Ride and Shock Me? I was like, I can help out with backing vocals too. And that's how it worked out. But if I would have never, put it forward hey, I can do this, that probably wouldn't have happened that night. I did play with him the night before, but that second night, it wasn't in the books until a week before. And only because I asked did I get put on it.
I was reading here on your list that you filled in for Bruce Kulick, at least for the rehearsals.
Yeah, that would have been 2 years ago, the same year I was playing with Ace both nights at Kiss Cancer Goodbye. Bruce was still in Grand Funk Railroad at this time. And the event for Kiss Cancer Goodbye was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Thursday night was the rehearsal night, to where everybody comes in a day early, and they've got 2 places set up where you can go and meet everybody you're playing with, and because it's a hodgepodge of musicians and stuff. And so we got in that Thursday, and dude, I'm not joking, I played 53 songs at rehearsal that day.
Oh wow.
And 15 of those were a live 3, and I didn't find out until Wednesday night, when I was just talking to Todd and everybody about getting in. They said they were supposed to rehearse a live 3, but Bruce wasn't going to be in yet because he had a gig with Grand Funk that night and couldn't fly in until the next day. So I was like, hey, I know most of these songs. I was like, if you need me to, I can fill in for this. And then, of course, the last thing that got rehearsed for the night was a live 3, and I had already been there since 10 a.m. that day, and I stayed up until probably 3 or 4 a.m. the night before, going over those songs. I knew a lot of them, don't get me wrong, but some of the Bruce era stuff I hadn't played before. I just want to some of the Revenge stuff, and I love that stuff, but it was my first time tackling it. And and it was funny because we got 6 songs into the rehearsal, and I'm the one calling the songs out. And Joey, because they didn't have it written down, and I had my phone up, and Joey Casada made the comment, and he's like, how this guy turned into the musical director and he's only been here for 6 hours. Like,
well, nobody hands their hand on the wheel. Somebody's got to grab it, right?
yeah,
Somebody's
absolutely.
Take control.
But that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Bruce is one of the nicest guys ever. It was funny when he got in the next night. I saw him backstage, and I was like, "Hey, man, hope you don't mind. I played the songs with the boys." And he's like, "No, that's great." And then later that night, he saw me again. He was like, "Hey, it's my stunt double, and he looks just like me." Bruce is like
cool.
Bruce is like a foot taller than me. He's about as tall as Todd. He's like 6'4", 6'5", around there. He's a big guy. And then last year at Kiss Cancer Goodbye, it was funny. I was playing lead on King of the Mountain off of Asylum, which is, dude, in my opinion, Bruce's best solo. And get to the hotel like when the event's starting, and Bruce sees me walking through the lobby with the guitar. I don't have it in the case. It's a very, very cheap like guitar. And Bruce spots me, and he was like, "What? You don't even have a case for your guitar?" Just yells that out in the lobby. And I stopped and I was like, "Hey, man, I hope you know the only reason I brought this guitar is so I could incessantly practice your insane solo on King of the Mountain that I have to play in front of you and everyone this weekend."
Yeah.
And he started laughing, and then we started talking for like 3 minutes, and he told me an awesome story about how that solo was like spliced together. Cause I was like, "Dude, I went and watched videos of you playing that live." And it's like, I was like, no disrespect, but you're playing it a little differently than, the studio, and not like in a bad way. It was just like, it sounded different. And he was like, "Well, that's because they spliced my solo together from like 3 different parts." He's like, "That wasn't like a natural jump between a lot of that, which you can kind of hear a little bit in it." So the next day at rehearsal, and I was a little nervous about playing the solo. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like I don't get nervous about a lot of stuff, but the solo was pretty crazy for anybody that doesn't know it.
Yeah.
And so the next day at the first, like one of the rehearsals, we were running through it and running through the solo section. And after we had done, I look out and like into like the theater like seats. And it wasn't open to the crowd yet, but I see somebody sitting out there, and it's Bruce. And I'm like, "Oh, geez." And we go to run
No
through
pressure.
it again. Yeah, we go to run through it again, and I get a little more nervous. And at this time, like when we get done playing it, I look behind me, and Bruce is standing right behind me on stage. And he's like, "Dude, is my pedal board in your way? Do I need to move that?" And I was like, "No, Bruce Kulick, your stuff is not in my way as I play your song." And drop the phone. There we go. Then he held out his fist and he was like, "Dude, you nailed those riffs." And I was like, "Oh my God." Fast forward 2 days later to the actual performance, play the song, and it was me. I'm trying to think of who all was on it. Me, Kor Rosick, who sings for his own band that was Ace's opener for like 3 years. Kent Slucher, Luke Bryan's drummer, was on drums that plays in Quarantine with Chris Jericho. And then Mike Collins, who played in Mr. Speed for a few years, was playing it. But anyway, so we do the actual performance like 2 days later. And as I'm coming off stage with my guitar, walking onto the stage and passing me is Eric Singer and Bruce Kulick, which is already nuts in itself.
Right.
And as I'm passing them, like in this crowd of people, Bruce stops, holds out his fist again. He was like, "Dude, you effing nailed that solo." And I was like, I'm like trying not to tear up in front of a bunch of people.
That's awesome, man.
Bruce is awesome. And it's funny because that night filling in for the Alive 3 rehearsal, that still to this day, that's the most me and Todd Kerns have ever jammed.
Right, because you were filling in for Bruce, so you played with all those guys.
Yeah, Bruce's band that night was, I believe Joe McGinnis was on bass, or just played for him again this weekend at the Kiss event. And then Todd, of course, on guitar and vocals, and Joey Casada was playing drums. And Joey's one of the best drummers I've ever played with.
Now, wait a second.
I
said one of the best.
One of them.
That's right. That's right. That's
Brad,
right.
geez.
I didn't say the best. I can't get those texts from Matt Starr when we're done. No, I'm joking.
Right. Yeah. Get in line, Matt.
Jeez.
All right. So tell this is going to be maybe a little diversion, but I'm really intrigued by you were left alone with Burt Reynolds.
What?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
honestly, I'd forgot that I'd written that on there. Totally real, totally happened. It was 2016. One of my best friends and my roommate at the time, the house I was living at in Knoxville, Tennessee, uh, he owned a bar downtown in Knoxville, and he was only a few years older than me. And just imagine a bar being ran by a bunch of like 25-year-olds. Like it was, it was crazy. But fast forward to the summer of 2016, they had owned it for about a year at this point. They got contacted by a production company. They were filming Burt Reynolds. It was his final movie. It was called The Last Movie Star. Uh, Chevy Chase was in the movie as well. He wasn't in any of the scenes at the bar. But so the main like plot of the story is Burt Reynolds plays almost like a fictionalized version of himself, like an older actor that didn't make great career decisions, and then he gets invited to win this award at this event that he thinks is super prestigious, but it turns out it's some like crappy dive bar, and it was the bar that my friend owned. And so they had contacted my buddy and asked if they could rent out his bar for, like 2-3 weeks to film the main part of the movie there. And Burt Reynolds would be there. And it's funny, I was in the middle of a tour. It was like my first like little solo tour I'd put together, and I had a few weeks off and luckily got to come home while they were filming the movie at the bar, and I was there every day. And probably was around Burt for probably 3-4 days, but then like the last day they were there, that I was there, it was a 2-story bar, and they were filming like all the main scenes upstairs. And so I'm not joking, for like 30 minutes downstairs at the bar, Burt Reynolds literally got left in a chair at the bar with me and 2 of my friends for like 30 minutes. So we were the only people there with him, just drinking beer and just talking to him. And it was nuts, dude. Like, and still to this day, it's like, when I meet famous musicians, it doesn't, I don't get as starstruck because I feel more of like a constituent at this point. Like I belong here as well, to an extent.
Yeah.
But whenever I meet anybody from like the movie industry, like, dude, just last week at the Rainbow, I met Walt Jr. from Breaking Bad. Like, he came up to my table and started talking to people I was with, and I was instantly just like, oh my God. And as we're walking out, I was like, he said something to me and Ollie, and I can't remember what, and it started a conversation, and I was just like, dude, I don't care. I was like, I'm sorry, I have to ask. I was like, do you mind if we get a picture? I was like, I'm a huge Breaking Bad fan. And he was super cool about it. He's like, yeah, you got to let me take it. And he's the one who took that picture. And the best part was like, as we were leaving, because the bar was closing, the bouncer's like trying to get everybody to like walk out. And bouncer comes up to us after we're taking the picture. He's like, hey guys, you got to get out of here. And he looks at the bouncer and he goes, I am the danger, the big line from Breaking Bad. And I was just like, dude, it's like living in a simulation right now. But it's always a little more exciting for me meeting some of the movie industry people, because it's not a world that I'm as involved in all the time,
Sure. Yeah. Well, you got to hang with the Bandit, and that's pretty
impressive. I mean, I got to play with Ace Frehley 3 times, but still, like, Burt Reynolds, come on, man. That's I think Ace would have even been like, come on, it's Burt Reynolds. Like,
that's so awesome. I've met a few actors very brief in passing at the Rainbow. David Spade being one of those who seemed to be there when we were there. Got to hang with Lemmy several times at the Rainbow. Always really cool stuff.
That's awesome. I went to the Rainbow 4 times in my first 24 hours in LA.
Good for you. Good for
Those
you.
PBRs hated seeing me coming.
So you've got 2 shows coming up this weekend. Where are those shows for Pretty Tied Up?
Saturday, November 22nd, we will be at Hot Spot in High Ridge, Missouri, right outside of St. Louis. And then Sunday, we will be making our return to the Livewire Lounge in downtown Chicago.
Wow. So I don't think that a lot of people know this, but a lot of those dates that you do are fly dates.
Yeah, for the other guys.
Oh, are you driving?
Yeah, I drive everywhere, man. And it's
Wow.
funny, like I made the joke last week when I landed in Salt Lake. I was like, damn, even the one show I get to fly into, I still have to drive 11 hours after I get there because
Aw.
I flew into Salt Lake and had to pick my rental up there to go to LA because I couldn't do a one-way rental with Enterprise. So I had to drop it off at the same place I got it. So I had to fly into Salt Lake and then drive 11 hours to LA.
Oh my gosh.
Which honestly, I didn't mind it because I've never been out west before. So getting to basically drive through the outskirts of the Grand Canyon and then seeing all those like
Yeah.
plains out in, Eastern California when you go across the state line, like that was awesome.
Yeah.
It was very scenic and it kept me entertained for the whole time I was driving through there.
Yeah. Yeah. So he flies into Salt Lake, drives to Los Angeles, plays the whiskey, picks up the rest of the band, right? Drives to Salt Lake.
Yeah, Chip and Ollie rode with me back to Salt Lake. Alex went home for a few days. Then, of course, Scott Coogan was who was drumming there, and he lives in L.A. And then you live in Boise, so you drove down. So Chip and Ollie were the only ones that had to travel with me all the way back to Salt Lake. We had a good time though. We split it up in 2 days. We stopped halfway. It was a fun time.
Yeah, I had a great time. It was so fun. I'm ready to do some more.
Dude, we'll definitely do it again. We got to get a Boise date together. I did reach out to your buddy, and I do thank you for sending over those contacts to me. We'll definitely make something happen again.
Yeah.
We've got I think I showed you the dates. We've got a massive 2-month long tour we're about to announce. We just got to get through these last date or two, so we're not confusing people on where we're playing and everything.
Sure.
So after this weekend, we only have one more date the rest of the year. December 27th, we're in Cleveland, and then the madness for 2026 starts.
Exactly. Hey, producer, can we put a link in the comments for the Pretty Tied Up Facebook page so people can go follow that and keep track of where Brandon and the boys are?
Yeah.
And maybe my name will pop up occasionally.
Yeah,
dude, we're definitely gonna play together again. It'll happen.
I'm gonna stay sharp on those songs.
Yeah, especially those two.
That's more than me. So, dude, I'm not joking. Whenever this tour started in July, it was opening night up in Philadelphia, and man, we had played 2 weeks before, but I don't think we had played Pretty Tied Up in the set, and it had been probably 4 or 5 months since I had played that song, and I didn't rehearse it at all before the gig.
Oh, wow.
And it gets up to time to play it, and I totally forgot how to play the bridge and just totally just winged it. And turned around, turned my volume down for it. By the second verse, I totally had it figured out, but I had to turn it down for that first one. It was funny, just totally not remembering how to do it.
Oh man. Well, there's no chance the drummer can do that. I know we were supposed to play You're Crazy, and I had these small little charts made on my set list, and I had 2 songs in a row on the same paper where everything else only had one. So I flipped the page over, and I think Alex or Chip was talking, and I think I said to you, do you want me to count this off? And you said something like, no, Alex will start it. And I'm looking at my notes versus what you told me. I'm like, those 2 things aren't lining up. And then I went to click it off, and it was like I was on a different page, literally. And we had to stop for a second and go, wait, time out. I'm like, oh, here's what we're doing.
Like I said, don't worry about it, because whenever we were playing the whiskey, we had to restart it with Coogan. And we actually tried starting it, and it was like this weird. I don't know what we were even doing, but it sounded crazy, and we all just looked at each other and started laughing. And that so we had to restart it that night. So don't feel bad about that. I don't think anybody watching is going to find videos and start critiquing it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I could be hard on myself, and I don't like to do that.
Oh no, that was fine. At least when we did start it, we started it right on that one.
We did. I was like, once I went, oh, here, this is where we are. I was like, okay, I think I know what to do now. But before that, I was like, it was this foggy mystery land of like, oh, what's about to happen?
Yeah.
I think I'm going to crash right into the wall. And that's what I did.
No, we did fine. We totally did fine. It turned out great.
Hey, producer, do you have any questions for Brandon? I put you on the spot now, Mrs. F.
Wow.
This is your big chance to talk to Brandon Fields.
Well, I've just been listening and absorbing. I'm trying to think. Like,
this is actually my first interview I've done in a while. It's been
Really?
fun getting to come on here and do this.
Yeah, man.
I've been so busy the last couple months. It's like I haven't had time to sit down and do something like this. I just got home within the last month or so from basically half a year of touring.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to hear. Okay, what's the story of your singer being from Uruguay, right? Is that right?
Paraguay.
Paraguay.
Paraguay. Okay. What's the background with him?
That's
pretty
so
interesting.
I have a good
Have
buddy
you-
in Florida named Troy who played in the Kiss tribute Strutter for like 20 years. Troy's a good
Mhm.
buddy of mine. We still talk, just casually. Like it's not always just like business. Like he's an actual friend, and we'll, text random stuff to each other. And he had literally just shared me a video of Ollie singing "Live and Let Die" on. He was on, it was in Chile, and it was basically America's Got Talent, but Chilean version.
Oh.
And
Oh wow.
Troy sent me a video of him on there, and he was playing with a guy doing Slash, and they were doing Axl and Slash, and there's a video of them doing "Live and Let Die," and he sent it to me for no other reason than to just check it out. And he was just like, "Hey man, watch this." And I watched it, thought it was great, and I just kind of filed it to the back of my head for a moment, and then I was in the process of booking the summer tour. Knew Ari Kamen wasn't going to be available because it's summertime, from Steven Adler's band who had done our last tour, which Ari still does play with us when he can. It's just, he's a legit rock star now. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking who I would be able to get for the tour, and had, remembered that video of Ollie singing, and I found his Instagram page, and it was funny. I put this whole like 3-paragraph thing through Google Translate and translated it to Spanish, messaged it to him, and he messages me back within like a minute, and it was way too quick for like him to have translated what he said, I feel like. And I was just like, all I said back, I was like, "Hey, hold on, do you speak English?" He was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "No way." So we started talking. I, pitched him the idea of coming to the States and singing for us for these dates, and he was all for it. And it's kind of crazy. We had never met before, and even video chatted, like him getting on a plane to come to the United States, a week before the shows start. And it's like he's getting on a plane to go do gigs for a guy he's never met. Like it could all be, it could not be legit. So he definitely took a risk, like, and I appreciate him, having faith in me, to make it happen.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it was a whole thing. And, originally he was just going to be here through, August 16th was, July 10th through August 16th was the tour. And that's what I had, contracted him for. And once it was done, it wasn't once it's done. Once we start getting through it, it's like, "Hey man, we should keep doing this." And, he missed 2 dates in October, but it was because he was getting married. He actually,
oh wow,
he met a girl at one of our shows who had came to see us before. Her and her whole family came back out to see us, and they started talking, and they actually just got married like 2-3 weeks ago.
Oh wow.
Are you talking about this past October or a year ago when they met?
No, they just met so they met in we played Charlotte in August, and then the next night we were in like Greenville, South Carolina. They came to both shows. They had came to see us last year with Ari, and then came back out this year. And we had Ollie, and I guess they hit it off, and they just got married like 2-3 weeks ago. But now he's now he's here for good.
I was gonna ask, like, how does that work with like, I don't know anything about working over like in another country. Like, is it visas or what is it that, like? So I was wondering. I was gonna ask that, but now I guess it probably doesn't matter.
Now he's going to be an American citizen. So Uncle Sam can deal
Wow.
with him and not me.
Yeah.
No, no.
Well, that's awesome, man. I love how all of this. I love the story of how all of this came together. The network of people that became friends.
Dude, it's relationships, and Chip
Yeah.
says it 100 times a day when we're on the road because dude, it has to be hammered home to guys that don't get it. The business is literally predicated on good relationships and friendships, and Chip says that, and I could not stand by it 100% more than I already do, because it's all about how you treat people 100%.
I don't know if you may remember after the show that we played, and everything was kind of dying down. You and I and Chip were sitting like at that fire table outside, and there was another guy sitting next to me. I think he was a pilot for Southwest. And I don't remember what the guy's question was to me exactly, but my answer was, every time I do a show, my circle of friends gets just a little bit bigger.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Chip looks at me and goes, "That's exactly right. I love that." And like, yeah, it's just your family of friends just keeps growing every time you meet somebody new who's cool. And
it is. I mean, dude, you should look at a concert your band's playing almost like a family reunion. Like you're meeting people that you got a bunch of bonds with that you probably never met before, but you share, Guns N' Roses is an interest, or Kiss. I mean, dude, Kiss fans are the same way. It's like you can meet somebody that's another Kiss fan and you're instantly best friends right off the bat. Like,
right. I've told this story a few times over the years, but the old school way of getting concert tickets, at least for here, is you would go to select a seat, and they had them like in grocery stores and other places, and you would stand in line for who knows how long. I remember
sometimes the night before.
I stood in line for so long for Def Leppard or Queensryche, Kiss. And when you're standing in line for a couple hours with people around you that are all there for the same reason, you just start talking and everybody's having a good time. And that time goes by so quick, right?
Yeah, and kids today will never be able to experience that.
I know, and I think that's sad. I think that's really does sad.
It's part of the experience.
It's part of the experience. It's 100% part of the experience.
Yeah.
So we got a couple viewer questions. Yeah. Gary Tackett says, how many dates? These are good. Gary wants to know, how many dates are you doing a year? I remember you showed me like what was kind of like on the schedule for next year, but I didn't count them. It looked like a lot.
So if I had to guess the total for this year that we did, it was probably somewhere around 50, which is quite a bit for a tribute band.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's a lot.
Next year already, I think just through April, we have like 30 dates.
Oh, wow.
That's just February through April. So we have 3 in January, but then February 6th, the long haul starts in Jackson, Mississippi. And then I literally just confirmed a date, like the last little like of that stretch last night, April 17th. So we will be gone February 6th through April 17th, doing like 4 gigs a week at least.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So next year, I would assume we'll probably hit about 100 shows next year, because we haven't even, dude, that's not even including our summer, and we're starting to book our summer tour now. So we already have like 30, 40 dates for the spring, and the rest of the time it's like next year's going to be a busy year for sure.
Yeah. So Jamie Vink is asking, have you ever played in Boise? I think the answer is, have you ever? Well, I don't think Pretty Tied Up's played in Boise, but have you ever been in Boise, Brandon?
I have not. This was my first ever time coming out west, like a week or two ago when we played the Whiskey. It was like I said, that was a big reason I didn't care about the 11-hour drive I had to do, because I was getting to see a bunch of stuff that I don't see back home.
Right? Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, we have mountains here, but it's not like, it doesn't look like that. Like,
I bet the mountains.
We have really big mountains in Cumberland Gap, where I went to high school, like Appalachian Mountains. They're big, and it was funny. I was video chatting my daughter while I was driving through like this gorge through Arizona, and I was like, "Look at these mountains." She's like, "Those aren't as big as the ones at Mammal's," and I was like, "These are quite literally like 5 times the size of those."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. So Jamie's other question is, how many guitars are you using with this tour, and what are they?
Oh man, no gearhead is gonna like my answer at all, because not only do I not have a vast collection of guitars that I take on the road, my main guitar for the last 2 tours was a Gibson. And for anybody that doesn't know what a Gibson is, it's a Chinese Gibson knockoff.
Okay.
Because unfortunately, guys like me can't pay $3,000 for a Slash custom or more. You can get these Gibsons pretty cheap and replace all the electronics and everything in it. And it says Gibson in it, and pretty frowned upon, I guess. But I don't think I can get in any trouble for saying this. But so the last tour with Ari. Actually, I take that back. I was using the Gibson before that last tour for literally the first 4 years of the band. I was using an Appetite for Destruction Gibson I got and had reworked by a company called RS Guitar Works here in Kentucky. They worked on all of Joe Perry's and Rick Nilsson's guitars for their tours, setting them up. So they're pretty reputable. So they redid the whole first one for me, and I actually sold that one. The last one with Ari, I was using the Epiphone Appetite. I wasn't crazy about the finish on it though, so I went back and got one of the Gibson Appetites, the awesome Appetite Flame Top, or whatever the correct term is for it. I'm not a gearhead, so I don't really know a lot of the correct terms. So I use a lot of Gibsons, but the Gold Top that we were talking about that I had autographed, that's an actual Epiphone, the Slash Victoria model. I've never been a big collector of guitars, and I'm sponsored by Vintage, and I still play those sometimes out. It's a little harder to do with the Guns thing. They do have an Appetite model they make, so I'd probably need to get them to give me one of them. But
sure, yeah. Yeah.
I've never been really crazy big on gear, and especially moving around as much. It's, the less gear you have to move everywhere, a little easier it makes. But for the most part, this year I was using the Appetite Gibson for the summer tour, and then this Gold Top for the last 2 months. My backup that I've been taking is just I think it's a 2013 or 14 Gibson Studio. The studios are okay. It's nothing crazy, and it sounds nuts saying this, but dude, I'll take all the Epiphones I've had and some of the Gibsons over the Gibson Studios I've played.
They just feel better.
They do. I don't know what it is with the studios. I don't know. The necks feel a little stiffer to me. That's not even the right word. Like I said, I'm not a gear collector. I don't use pedals. I use a wall pedal that half the time comes unplugged during the show anyways.
Yeah. So, I guess people probably want to know, if you're doing, a lot of these guys are doing fly dates and you're driving around, but what do you guys do for, you have a backline everywhere, or what are you doing for amps? And
so fortunately with me driving, I can take a lot of the gear with me. Summer, we took a minivan and had a U-Haul trailer attached to it, so all the gear stayed back in that, and then we just rode up in the van. But now when we did this last week out west, it's expensive to fly with stuff, so you want to take as little as you can. I just brought a guitar with me.
Oh wow.
We places are pretty good about helping us out with backline if I reach out to them in advance and have them set that up, or I can do what I did in Salt Lake and just wait till the day of the show and hope the opening band lets me use their guitar amp.
Oh man.
Well, that happened to work
shout out to Joe Rock Show, because those guys let me and Pitt both use their rigs, and they were super nice guys. Yeah, that was a really fun night.
It was really fun. Brandon, thank you so much for joining me on the show, and I'm so happy that we're brothers, man. This is so cool.
Dude, we're definitely going to play again together going forward. That won't be the last time. Like I said, we got to get that Boise date worked out, and we'll definitely do some more jamming then. That'll fit perfectly into our schedule, so I feel like we'll make it happen.
Nice.
Yeah. So we put Brandon's Minefield video. It's in the comments here, and the Pretty Tied Up
Facebook page
is in there. Is there anything else you'd like to plug, Brandon?
Not really. We're about to start pre-production on a second Minefield record, so that's
cool.
that'll eventually make its way out into the universe next year at some point. Maybe not the whole record, but we'll at least get a song or two out next year. I'm pretty hell bent on getting something out under that name next year in some capacity. It's been 4 years. Well, the record came out in May of 2021, so I mean, after coming up in May, that'll be 5 years since the record came out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing more of that and getting on the stage with you again and doing some shows. That would be so great. Should people follow you on your socials, or do they just stick to Pretty Tied Up?
No, I'm pretty active on all my social media. So I think it's Brandon Fields Official on Instagram, and then just Brandon Fields on Facebook. I have a public page on Facebook, that you can go like. I don't post on that one as much, but you can follow me on my personal one now that they've updated that, and you can have more than 5,000 people following you, not friends.
Right.
But my personal Facebook page, I'm very active on.
Cool. Well, everybody go follow Brandon. This will be, and you can keep up with everything that's going on. And it's really cool to watch what you do with your music career, Brandon. And it's fun to be a part of it.
Well, thanks, bud.
Cool.
It's been fun getting to come on here and talk. Like I said, it's the first interview I've done in a while. So it's been fun getting to kind of chat about some of this stuff I've been doing because it's been a busy year.
Yeah. Well, maybe this will be a catalyst to get some more people and get some more buzz going on the Pretty Tied Up thing.
Yeah.
No, I'll just make it exclusive. I only come on your show if people want to hear me talk. They got to tune in here at 9 a.m.
That's right. 7 a.m. where I am, 6 a.m. for those in California, but we still get them. Yeah.
Those poor guys.
I'm Fred Fisher. People are going to tune in. That's the way that's working.
Oh, man.
Hey, man, I'm here right now, so.
Yeah.
Got to go for something.
Well, Brandon, just stick on the line for 1 second after I end this, and we'll talk a little bit more. And but thanks again for coming on. I really appreciate it. And rock and roll. We'll see
everybody later.
Thanks, Brandon.
See everybody next week.
See ya.